Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another important discussion about how Ford is creating tomorrow based on its electrification strategy. As the company moves forward to offer more pro-pollution choices, we have to combat certain things like range anxiety, which is that fear of being stranded because you don't have enough charge to make it to your final destination. So this morning, I am joined by Bob Tanaka, Senior Leader of Battery Systems Development, and Matt Stover, who is our Charging and Energy Business Development Director for Team Edison. Now, before coming to Ford, Bob here was actually sending batteries into outer space. And now his team is responsible for creating battery systems and technology that are going to launch us into the future. And Matt, well, he just moved here from Boston, so he didn't want to go to any warmer weather, so he just kind of made the transition on over here. But before joining Ford, he actually spent a lot of his career as an analyst and investor on Wall Street. And so I want to thank you both for being here with me today. And before we get into this important discussion about how Ford is kind of moving forward in this arena, I'm going to give you both an opportunity to talk briefly a little bit more about your background. So Bob, I'll start with you. So obviously, when I mention that, everybody wants to know, what are some of the things that you see similar between the automotive industry and the spacecraft industry?
Okay, so my specialty is in battery, so I guess I'll focus on the battery. I'd say, and this also translates to the vehicle as well. In a spacecraft program as well as a vehicle program, you're really focused on launch. So you have a launch of a spacecraft, you have a launch of a vehicle program. I work in the battery system, which is part of the propulsion system for the vehicle. When I worked I worked at Hughes Space and Communications, and I was part of the power propulsion laboratory. So the propulsion is the rocket power, and so I was not a rocket scientist, but I worked with rocket scientists.
Okay.
And so I say as far as the battery. In a spacecraft, you can control the battery temperature to whatever temperature you want it to be held at, and the use of the power in a spacecraft battery is very constant. And the battery is typically used during an eclipse period, and the solar panels are used during sunlight. So you have a very steady load. You can really target a specific temperature, whereas on a vehicle battery, you have to design for negative 40 degrees up to above plus 40 degrees ambient temperatures. The customer usage will be very different, and so in that sense, it can be very different in terms of how you would qualify the battery, and the use cases tend to be very different. But I guess in both cases, you're really looking for reliability. That you have long life in a spacecraft and long life in a vehicle battery.
That makes sense. I see that. So, all right, no pressure. Now, he worked with rocket scientists. I know you were on Wall Street. So tell me some of the similarities that maybe you've been able to transition from Wall Street here to Ford Motor Company.
So I'm the lower half of the IQ. Analyst here. Thank you very much.
There's always a bell curve. There's always a bell curve.
I think we've had a conversation about this before. So I guess, sometimes I wonder, when I think about what Wall Street has, brought to the table in terms of, how I look at what we're doing in the charging services business, I think it does a couple things. Number one, I've spent most of my career talking to our competition, talking